press record? I did at the beginning. Okay, so I'll start recording from now. It's going to be a jumble of videos, things. Okay, so I don't know which part it stopped recording at. Anyway, I'll see which one of the videos ends up being better. Okay, we got the end behavior. Okay, let me just review this for a second. I don't know when the recording stopped. Shoot. It should come up with this something, no? Like a beep? Beep, maybe? Okay, so this one here, we factored, we did the increase, decrease, and then we had the end behavior, which is x approaching infinity, y approaching infinity, x approaching negative infinity, and y approaching infinity. So I think that should be okay. I don't know where it stopped, but the other video might have that one. So I'll send it in the video. So let's do this one. Let's try to make sure this one gets recorded. All right, so this one here, again, it's a bit of a mess. I like to do what I told you to do last year in grade 11, is rearrange it and factor it if possible. So I would say I'd lose the 2 here. I'd go -8 minus, like this, factor out the negative and switch the order, and then -4. It just helps me picture it better. You don't have to. Mathematically, it's the same thing, but I switch the order. I put the -4 here, like that. I factored out this part. You have to factor that part. You have to. Okay, and then again, when possible, I try to picture what the graph looks like, right? And whenever we give you a graph that we know, we do encourage you to kind of picture it until we get to the part where, okay, you don't need to picture it anymore. But whenever we do give you a graph that you do know, it's because we do want you to look at it, right, and picture it. It's not because we don't. We do want you to say, hey, I know that this graph is kind of a half of a graph, right? It's a square root, so there's got a part, but not the whole thing. So then we've got a stretch, vertical stretch. That negative inside means it's a horizontal reflection. So instead of heading this way, it's heading that way. And I've shifted it 8 to the right and down 4. So it does something, 8 to the right, down 4, it says something like this. Right, again, rough idea. You're just trying to figure out what's happening with the graph. All right. So that's enough. And then I'm going to look at the list. What is it? Increase, decrease. Increase, decrease first. So let's do increase. Okay, again, don't look at the arrow. Everyone's like, increasing to the left. No, 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 no. Cover up the arrow. Where is the graph increasing? Up to the right, down to the right? No, the whole graph is down to the right. Down to the right means decreasing. Don't follow the arrow. Don't follow the arrow. So cover that. Down to the right. So that means increase nowhere. Nowhere. So none. There's no place where this graph is increasing. So you're going to say decreasing. So it's decreasing all the way to, oh, what value is that? Wait, I should label that. 8, I'm going to label this as 8, -4, just so I know, again, for myself. And so it's decreasing all the way to the 8. So we're going to go x as an element of, and we're going to say from, right? So decreasing the whole domain, and we know it continues on the left side. So it's going to be from -infinity all the way to 8. We're not going to include the 8. Although it's not churning, we're going to still just not include it because it's not increasing or decreasing at that point. We're going to leave it as a round bracket. Okay, yeah. Increase. Where is this graph going up to the right? Where is the graph going up to the right? Nowhere. It's only heading down to the right. So to the right. So you're saying down to the right. The whole graph is down to the right. Okay, so we're going to leave that as a round. We're going to not include that first point just to be fair to the other one, because the other one was when it was churning. This is when it stopped. So technically it's not increasing or decreasing. So we're just going to say, yeah, where it stops and where it churns, we're not going to include that as increase, decrease. Okay, so just leave that off. Now, we're going to check the, oh, I forgot in my other class to do the odd, even, neither. Huh, so I have to add there. I'll have to add this video. Oh my gosh, so I don't know what's going to happen with the video. I'll try to trim it. So I forgot to do the odd, even, neither. We'll do that in a second. And we're going to do the, what was the other part of the question? Odd, even, neither, continuity, and asymptotes. So continuity, so this graph here, it's going to be continuous Where is it continuous? It's continuous everywhere to the left of 8. So it is continuous from negative infinity all the way to 8, square bracket on the 8. Because it's continuous, I don't have to pick up my pencil all the way to 8, right? I can go all the way to 8. So I stop there at the 8, so square bracket on the 8, and then I had to pick up my pencil. And then I'm going to say that it's the graph does not exist for x going from 8 to infinity. Right? So from 8 to infinity, the graph simply does not exist. So you technically don't have to say discontinuous. There is no graph. There's no graph to be discontinuous. You can't be discontinuous if you're simply not there. So I would just say the graph does not exist at 8 to infinity. So it's continuous to the 8, including the 8, and then it just simply stops existing, right? Because there's only half of a graph. Okay, so that's continuity. The other part here, I forgot in my other class not to do the odd even thing, so let's do it here. So there's going to be no vertical asymptote, no horizontal asymptote. So no vertical asymptote or horizontal asymptote. And then let's do the end behaviors. Okay, so end behavior. Here, end behavior. You don't have to title it, but just so you know what I'm doing. As x, whoops, as x approaches, and to the right of the graph, infinity, we're going to say y does not exist. So DNE, that stands for does not exist. Okay, so DNE will stand for does not exist. Okay, and then...
So why don't we say that y approaches -4?
But the end point, the end behavior, that's the middle point of the graph. No, the end of the graph over here. So nothing happens over here because it isn't there. So I'm not talking about the middle of the graph. I'm talking about the ends of my graph. So as I keep drawing this graph forever and ever, so infinity, right? Infinity is forever and ever. I'm not saying when x approaches 8. That's middle of graph. The definition of endpoint is this, infinity. So infinity is what you're aiming for, not middle. I'm not asking what's happening to the graph. I'm asking what happens at infinity on this graph. The definition is by infinity, which means forever, what will happen? Nothing. Okay? So as x approaches negative infinity, y approaches up, so infinity, so that one's okay. Okay, so the ends of the graph. Infinity is ends of the graph, not middle of the graph, ends of the graph. All right, and now let's check the odd even. Odd even neither. So let's first thing we do. Okay, we move over. F at negative x. Right, step 1. You can put it into either form. I guess I'll just put it into the original. Safer, 8 minus negative x. So negative 4 plus 2. This will be 8 plus x, so x plus 8. Does that bring it back to the original? No, it does not, because there's that horizontal reflection, which is going to change my graph. So since f at negative x does not bring it back to the original, therefore not even. And then we're going to try that again. Negative f of negative x equals, so this will be a negative, this negative here part, and then take your whole answer from here. So negative 4 plus 2, x plus 8, right? And bring in the negative, and we got back positive 4. That's not going to help me. Minus 2 also doesn't help me, and that just messes it up, so definitely not. So since negative f of negative x also did not bring me back to the original, therefore not odd, therefore neither. Yeah.
Would you care if we rearranged it on the test?
Rearrange. Oh yeah, this part here.
Yeah, see how you change it to 4 minus 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, rearrange. Okay. Okay, so that concludes 1.3. Oh, I'll stop this here.